And we are live. Welcome to those of you who just got our notification that we are going to hop in here in just a minute to talk about customer success with Powerhouse partnerships. And that's with HawkSearch, Thanx Media, and Niteco. We'll give you a minute to get settled, and then you'll see our lovely faces on screen. Okay, so we are going to hop on screen here. You can see our lovely faces while we pause this great hold music.
There we go.
Well, welcome, and let's see. I think I just need to unmute. Paul, are you there? Can you hear us?
I am.
Oh, wonderful. All right, well, welcome to everybody. So we are going to hop in here. I'm Victoria with Bridgeline, and I want to give a quick intro to our lovely speakers this morning. Well, it's morning for me, but we actually have speakers from all over the globe, all different time zones represented here. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over. Why don't we go in the order of who's on the screen? So, Kyle, I'm going to hand it over to you, and then we will jump on in.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Kyle Mitzner. I am a partner manager here with HawkSearch. So I get to work very closely between our product team and obviously with our partners. We have a lot of great partners, including Thanx Media, Niteco, and Optimizely. So I'm very excited to present. Oh, and I should also say I'm calling in from Calgary, Canada. But I am very excited to present today. We have a really cool story. And as you can see, myself and Scott are wearing the shirts that we wore on the first day that we met. Pretty cute, but which was actually at Opticon last year. And the cool part about this whole story is obviously we all came together to make this Brownells implementation possible in a span of 6 weeks. We'll get into that in a second. But there's a lot of people on this call that know HawkSearch very, very well. I'll be presenting on behalf of HawkSearch, but I think there's a couple other people that might know it even better than I do. So with that in mind, I'll pass it over to you, Scott.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm Scott Reed. I work for Niteco and I'm a solution architect. I'm also an Optimizely Platinum MVP, so I'm very much in the guts of delivering and optimizing and architecting Optimizely solutions around CMS, customized commerce, through to experimentation, ODP, and all of the different product suite. And got the pleasure to be the architect on Brownells and help implement obviously HawkSearch and what we're going to talk through today.
Hi, and I'm Paul Matker. I'm the CEO of Thanx Media. We go to market in the U.S. as Thanx Niteco as we chase deals together. Optimizely working on this project for Brownells was a very key technology. But as you'll see, bringing HawkSearch in the 11th hour really supercharged the site and the user experience. And that's what we're here to explain today. Thank you. Thanks for attending. So before we dive into kind of the solution, it's always important to look at the metrics. Since launching the site, which went live in middle of February, and then bringing in Hawk, which we started the project, we realized that the Optimizely search wasn't going to work. In the 11th hour, and in November we started a quick implementation of Hawk after reviewing a few solutions. Hawk surfaced to the top is to be very relevant for what the client needed, but right out of the gates, lots of great improvements. So improvements, year over year in the search action rate, average order value, a large increase of 20%. And the implementation from the time we got the agreement in place, planned to kick off, was 6 weeks. So very, very, great technology to work with. And obviously we worked hard to put that in, which we're going to talk about how the Thanx Niteco team put this in.
And if I can just jump in just really quick on the first metric there, Paul, the search action rate, I think is a really cool metric, because I think often when we're talking about search insights or analytics on search, or actually just any technology for that matter, we're really focused on maybe revenue or something like that. But that metric there is really all about like user experience. And I just think it's a really cool metric. It's telling you that your users are searching and then clicking on the products right away. So, increasing the overall user experience is just fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you. So the challenge, if we could advance one slide, really came down to the project. The implementation of the project started late January of 22 with a target to go live.
Someone's at the front door doorbell.
With the project to go live, hopefully in the holiday season timeframe. But we realized that the search was missing components. So, because the product catalog is connected in real time to the PIM, there's lots of rich data. A lot of going through this project was really making sure the data was powerful, so that then the user experience would be powerful when someone's searching and looking for a product, searching or navigating to it. And so the Optimizely native solution could not provide the 6 below metrics. Were very key and important. And so what you'll see, and when we talk about the actual implementation, we're able to check off that there was a quick navigation, that we supported autocompletes, that we're able to do a flexible configuration. So this was what really made the technology shine. And again, we went through a quick evaluation. We looked at 3 or 4 solutions for the client. We kind of talked to the vendors, tested things, but Hawk was deemed to be the one that would get them to the goal fastest and had the richest experience.
Cool. Thank you very much. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the solution, how we approach this as far as the partnership goes, and also a bit of the technology behind HawkSearch. Obviously, there's that metric there of the 6 weeks we achieved to go live. So I just sort of break that out and how we got to that. Can we advance?
Yeah, and Scott, I can probably cover this one because I think it might be more powerful coming from my point of view. But the thing I always let everyone know, whether it's a customer or a partner, is, our team is very focused on HawkSearch. We're HawkSearch experts. Everything we do is with HawkSearch, but we really lean on our partner ecosystem to bring these customers on board and go to market quickly. And I can't overstate how important it is to make sure you're selecting the right implementation partners for the job. And in the case of the Brownells implementation, I mean, going from just learning HawkSearch, I mean, Scott, we met in October and we started the project in December. So between Thanx Media and Niteco to learn HawkSearch, to learn how to do the indexing, get everything up to speed in a matter of 6 weeks, it was absolutely incredible. And picking the right implementation partner is definitely the key to this success here.
Wicked. Exactly. So, I think as I was mentioning, 6 weeks there when it comes to how quickly it went through was a combination of a lot of benefits. There was a lot of insight and great information that we got from Brownells in actioning their requirements and the different PBIs that they wanted in the solution, through to being able to overlap with HawkSearch and the team. One of the things that, before we dive into it, that helped us accelerate this was not only having great technology to work with, but also being able to jump on the phone regularly, have overlaps, have a Jira board, and be able to really work through the issues, the work streams very quickly, and then bottom out any problems and really, drive that solution forward. Through, obviously, technology is a big part of it, but also deployments, alignments, and trying to get that out for testing, etc. Was key. And having that communication, that overlap, and that ability to work together was a key part of this. So when it comes to what we built for Brownells, we're very much focused when it comes to Thanx Niteco performance first. So this whole solution was built onto the latest .NET 6 version of Optimize the Platform, running CMS and customized commerce, a big commerce catalog, PIM integrations, etc. Lots of complexity in there. But it's also key for us to make sure that everything is performance first and optimized. So, some of the benefits we got from going on to .NET 6 and working with HawkSearch is that we were able to use Vue.js, a lot of modern front-end approaches, and basically hook into a number of APIs that HawkSearch deliver, that are very fast and reliable, that allows us to build the platform straight from the front end, reducing issues when it comes to other platforms. Already mentioned, obviously, that out of the box search and navigation, another elastic solution from Optimizely, although good, has some issues of configuration, and there's also a back-end hop. So, with our solution, we could have everything loaded in the browser and go straight to HawkSearch, have everything really rapid, really fast. And we were able to build these sorts of core common features for indexing, managing the admin of this, and then being able to deliver autocomplete and search features, which allowed us to give us, a lot of power, a lot of flexibility, and really sort of drive home that, performance optimization that, you have to have for a modern commerce site. And, we're all aware, obviously, of metrics where, drop off can heavily happen when it comes to bad slow experiences, and that power of having a great front end, a great back end of Optimizely, coupled with HawkSearch for a fast, responsive API stack, really sort of helps drive home, that as well, and make it performant. Sorry, can we move on? Yeah, cool. Thank you. Wicked. So this is just a very high level of the solution. So for anyone who doesn't know the DXP platform, this runs on Azure. We have, the benefit of scaled web apps that all run in the Microsoft Azure cloud, SQL databases, the files, etc. And we have a separate scheduler that runs. So what we are able to do here is connect up the best parts of this into the Optimizely solution. We're able to have our scaled web apps with that Vue.js, connect onto the autocomplete and the HawkSearch APIs to bring that information really fast, but then hook into our back-end scheduler, which allowed us to connect and build our indexing features, admin features, and all of the areas that we need to manage HawkSearch that are going to be managed from our side.
And if we can just pause here just for a quick second, this is kind of going back to the slide I was talking about before, Scott, but between Thanx Media and Niteco, I mean, outside that blue box, that's where our team's really good. Obviously, we know HawkSearch in and out. Inside that blue box, that's where we need you guys. Your help here was absolutely imperative, and this piece of the puzzle is not even possible without you guys. So
exactly. And that I think that collaboration and overlap that we talked about, trying to obviously strengthen where we are experts in each of our different fields, that ability for us to have places to streamline and overlap on, issues, work streams, etc., discuss and be able to rapidly action any problems or any features we need to put in, really allowed us to deliver that like 6-week timeline on this, because we were able to hook up and get those areas really clearly documented, driven, and overlap on this and allow the teams to facilitate it, which was very great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So just jumping in on the 3 sort of core pillars here of what we implemented. So the core one here was indexing. So that's the first point here. So for anyone wondering, how exactly do you, connect all the dots here? So Brownells have a very complicated catalog, see a customized commerce catalog. It's connected to a PIM and an ERP. There's lots of data that's rapidly changing around inventory, pricing, and lots of different PIM information. Very rich data here. And it's very key that this was not only that we could put all this information in here, but we could also make sure it was updated very fast, very rapidly with all the latest information that we need. So HawkSearch provide a very powerful set of indexing APIs which allow us to not only index but also manage some of the scenarios that we need. So we have multiple indexes where we can we built an admin plugin and we were able to swap between different HawkSearch indexes, which was really good because a lot of the configuration for HawkSearch for prioritizing fields and prioritizing fields and doing all the algorithms that you need for what's going to be showing and all the relevancy is really handled in Workbench, but needs to have some indexing changes. So we had the ability to swap over, we had the ability to work with different indexes to re-index whenever we needed to, and that gave us that power by connecting through to this API stack. So we could build very regular indexing backups. We could build real-time on-demand indexes. And we didn't have any problems when it came to the indexes as far as the amount of content we were pushing through, which was just really powerful and gave us a lot of flexibility. So that sort of API first design, gave us exactly what we needed to. So we were able to index all the hierarchy, all of the product data and all of the information that we needed to. And we could have multiple indexes, which allowed us to, not minimize downtime. We can make changes, we can rebuild, we can affect what we need to in the index without having to, rely on a single index, which was great. And also one of the benefits of, moving away from the Optimize platform there was having that flexibility there when it comes to that structure. Cool. So the next big feature, so we got 2, indexing there was very much the back-end process, the core data, the structure. The 2, obviously, user experience parts of this are autocomplete and search. So first off, we had autocomplete, which we've got some demos, some screenshots, videos in a bit to come to. But effectively, autocomplete allowed us to power our main header-based site search and really effectively allow the instantaneously on demand as soon as a couple of characters have been entered. I'm sure we're all very well, familiar with the feature, but was able to get the power from HawkSearch. We could get all the, we could go the relevant suggestions, the relevant products that we really needed straight to the user based upon the keyword, and then really, drive home things like product, popular search and category suggestions. The API, again, really fast, really efficient, easy to work with, and allowed us just to power that experience for the customer really simply and efficiently. Cool. And moving on, so and the key there, the biggest part of this was obviously the main search page. So, and again, we've got some demos to show in a minute, but the search itself, when you've gone over from the site search, again, just really had that power of the platform behind it. So, we'd indexed all of our fields in there, and we managed to then pull that information together. And one of the great things that we found with HawkSearch is there's a whole number of different facets that can be presented, and you can basically configure and connect those facets together. So, where you want facets to be displayed in drop downs or checkboxes or like toggles or all types of different UI display, you've got a rich ability to present those facets to the front end for the user in the way that you want to present. And then all of those facets are all built directly into HawkSearch. So all you have to do is worry about building against the types of facet, so that effectively, as long as you've got a UI that can present that facet, when you pull the data up back, any facets that the customer wanted to add in or new types of filter or toggle can be added in by the customer. And because you've built against it, it will just appear. So I think one of the greatest benefits here, building the front end of Vue, connecting it up into HawkSearch as well here, was that the whole flexibility around that management interface. The customer can make changes, they can make relevancy changes, they can also put marketing banners in and merchandising, change the sorting, even change different targets for different types of customer groups that we have in Brownells. And then obviously then change the different facets, reorder them, change them around, and that will all just come back from the API. So as long as you've built against the scaffolding, you've got lots of flexibility to give the customer and empower them to give them the ability to, change it as much as they want. You're not restricted in there. A lot of other search solutions, there'll be a lot of coding, a lot of changing, a lot of manual work needed in multiple sprints or pieces of work to constantly change and toggle. But by building against the framework of HawkSearch, not only are you getting the power, you're driving to the customer to see the relevant searches and get all of those great stats that we saw earlier on, but you're getting the power for the editor and the admins to really customize that and manage that, which we found. And obviously at the heart of this, as we said, that collaborative approach, like with every solution, there were a couple of things to figure out as you went, a couple of tweaks to make, but we overlapped, we worked on those and were able to rapidly solve any of these issues very quickly and drive this forward and test it. And when we were testing was great. We came through and everything went very well, and we found very little issues when it comes to HawkSearch or problems during testing. A rock solid solution that was able to deliver everything that we needed as far as the optimize side goes.
And Scott, I want to add one piece. This is Paul. So you had mentioned something about the tools. What Hawk does really well is puts the power of the solution in the tools of the product owners, the merchandisers. They have a very polished dashboard that allows them to tune and manage the system, and that is very key. You're not a black box. You're actually looking at the system and being able to see what's happening and then manage the destiny of how you want that user experience to see the data, as well as there's a lot of intelligence built into the platform that does some of this for you. But it just that one of the main keys that resonated with Brownells was the power of the dashboard and how they were able to really understand how they're going to deliver a powerful user experience.
Exactly. And obviously tying on to that, there's a load of powerful features in HawkSearch that we briefly mentioned around things like merchandising. So one of the features that we have in there is, we've got banners, and we've got different types of mobile and desktop banners as well that we display dependent on all that configuration. So that ability to go in there and really tie in promoted products and banners, etc., from keywords and by relevancy and even by different types of customer group, as Paul just said, really gives those sort of marketeers, merchandisers, that ability to really, control and drive that forward. And it's great that it's decoupled away from the development team, because the worst thing to do is build a solution like this and have to constantly, have changes and changes and changes for every small little feature. But if you build it correctly, then you can obviously make it so you get all that power at the fingertips without needing any sort of, continual stream there. Obviously, new features will need to be built in if you haven't built them, but all of the core goodness is there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why I'm even here with you two on the line, because like I said at the start of the presentation, that these two guys both know HawkSearch probably better than I do at this point. But I'll try to cover it anyways. I'll just kind of give a quick high level, and thank you guys for all your words. I mean, you can say it better than I can in general. So, HawkSearch is a robust platform, as you can kind of see here. We've been around for quite a long time, since I think 2012. We do have a new EVP of product. So John, if you're on the call, and give me a small shout out here. But John Murcott is running our product team now, and I can say it's brought a lot of really, really good changes to the platform, and we have really pushed the envelope, especially even in 2023 alone. I think in the first quarter we released 4 or 5 new features. We have a couple additional ones. Scott, for you, we actually have a new developer developer portal, coming out at the end of May. I've had my hands on it. It's really, really cool. You can start to build out like Postman scripts, that kind of thing, right in the back end there. You can take your API key, punch it in, it'll boom, Postman script comes out. So
Nice.
really, really cool. We have lots of cool things coming out. So definitely keep an eye on that. In terms of features, I mean, we've kind of covered a lot of them.
I didn't
But
mention
in general,
I didn't really touch much on the AI features, I think, on that, which is some we haven't implemented yet for Brownells.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So some of the coolest piece about the machine learning, the AI piece, I find in HawkSearch is that we can actually apply it to visitor targets. So let's say we have somebody logging into the site from Kentucky versus Texas or whatever it might be. The machine learning is actually applied separately to each of those visitor targets. That's really quick to set up. And also the machine learning is literally just 4 little bars that you can drag and drop. So that piece of it is really quick to set up. I'll kind of really highly skim over these features, but in general, HawkSearch, the point of it is to improve the user experience overall. We can help normalize data. We can ensure product findability. We help with raising average order value through recommendations. And then as Paul and Scott were both saying, it's very easy to use, very merchandiser, marketer focused. So in a nutshell, that's HawkSearch. These guys probably said it better than I did, but I'll pass it over, I think, to you, Paul.
Yeah. So, as people on the webinar have needs, if you have questions about, user experience, search solutions, we obviously have a very comprehensive practice, digital agency, working with customers on strategy, marketing, implementation of platforms, implementation, obviously, of the Hawk solution. And so if you're thinking about, an expert, someone who could help you transform your digital experience, driving all the way down to, marketing and retargeting users. We have a global presence. Obviously, here in the U.S., we've got a lot of great customers and projects, but very referenceable worldwide. So when you think of HawkSearch implementations and just discussions, would love to keep Thanx and Niteco in mind.
Absolutely. And I think we're getting kind of close to the end of our time here, but we do have a few screenshots, a couple of videos, as Scott was mentioning earlier in the webinar, but we can probably jump right into it. I think one of the coolest things with these examples is these are all pretty basic functionality out of the box with HawkSearch. And one of the things I always like to kind of point attention to is even lately, I've been building some POCs for customers, some proof of concepts for customers. And what I've noticed is right out of the box, HawkSearch is kind of doing some things in the background that you almost take for granted, but the basic core functionality is just really, really, really good. So one thing that Derek from Brownells actually wanted to highlight in this webinar, he gave me a few examples before we jumped in here, but was the fact that they wanted to hide accessories. It was a big thing for them. So if you're searching for a firearm, we wanted accessories to be right at the bottom. And as you can see here in the auto, so the first result, we can see just a firearm search. And then the second one is actually the autocomplete popping in, but it's not until we type holster or we start typing holster or start insinuating that an accessory is being searched for that we actually start producing those results. And if we go to the next slide, I'll really quickly show you how that's done in the back end. We have 2 types of boost and bury rules. We have a global rule or we have a conditional rule. This one's just a simple global rule, and it's based on a category. And as you can see, this is kind of just me showing you that it is really easy to use and kind of alluding to what Scott and Paul were talking about before. But it's very simple. We just pick the category that the conditions are contained in, and we drop the relevancy down. Super easy, and all the accessories are hidden. The other thing that we don't touch on quite as often, but I think is really important as well, is how we can actually boost and bury within a field setting or an attribute. This one, I like even our sales team overlooks it all the time, and I've even overlooked it a few times, but If for example, we wanted to make sure relevancy was tighter on maybe a title of a product or a content item versus a SKU code, you can see in this field, we've actually dropped the relevancy on the SKU code as well. So maybe a title is boosted higher than a SKU code. And the other big thing here is we can actually apply our analyzers to each field separately as well. I think we have 6 or 8 analyzers that can be applied. And then we're also solving for partial query types, that type of thing, right in the field. This takes literally 5 seconds to set up on each field, and right out of the box, you're getting some really strong relevancy. And as you can see here, kind of adding into the autocomplete functionality that we were talking about, HawkSearch has this drop down. Obviously, this is totally customizable per customer. And as you can see, if we just switch whether it's a handgun versus a rifle, the autocomplete will populate those relevant results before you even click search. And as you can see, again, just to reiterate the simplicity of it, you set up your autocomplete results right here in the workbench. It's like literally you just pick how many fields you want, how many items you want, if it's enabled or not, and then the API to autocomplete takes care of the rest. So super easy to set up and move forward. And then the final thing I want to show everyone today would be our very last piece of the webinar, but the functionality that Paul and Scott were both talking about in the preview section of HawkSearch. This is where the merchandising magic, so to speak, happens. You can, if you have items pinned or boosted or buried, you can see all of that in kind of live time right within HawkSearch. You don't have to try a bit of code, then jump to the live site. None of that needs to happen. You can see the results right into HawkSearch. And even if you're clicking on one of the little gray boxes in there, you can see where the boost or the bury is coming from. It'll take you straight to the rule, which is set up with just if, then that logic. And then you can also see your visitor targets here. You can switch your indexes if you want to test against one index versus another index. And then the final thing I'll also call out is this is on our development engine. Everyone gets 3 engines. You get a test, dev, and production engine. So there's a lot of functionality, a lot of merchandising capability right here, and it's very, very easy to use. And I think that's a wrap. What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
Good.
Yeah, I love all the examples that you guys gave, and that very first slide that goes over the metrics that we showed at the very beginning. I feel like that really sets the stage for all of the, the more detailed implementation highlights that you guys were able to give. So thank you. And we are almost exactly on time. So always appreciated. And for anyone that did join this morning, at least if you're in Pacific time, it's morning. You can go ahead and scan any of these QR codes, just goes directly to what was being presented today from HawkSearch, Thanx Media, Niteco, and then also Brownells if you're curious to see any of these search functionalities in action. You can go explore there. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys one more time, and hopefully we'll see you on here again soon.
Victoria, you just forgot to wear a matching shirt with me and Scott.
I know.
Paul has one. We just can't see it, but I know he has one, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone Skyped me and asked why I was on the camera. I said I was sunbathing.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
All right, guys. Thanks. Have a good rest of your day.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.